Welcome in and welcome back to NFL Sundays. It's the 25-26 regular season. It is well underway. It got underway several days ago on Thursday night, carried into Friday, and now here we are on the 7th of September, week one of 17 regular season games, of course, included among those 18 weeks for all 32 teams, and it'll all be decided coming up in Santa Clara of February of 2026. Will those tickets that you have inevitably purchased, whether it be hotels and or flights, will they actually be used, or will they be turned into points? That remains to be seen. Or maybe you'll just go to the game and go to Santa Clara regardless of whether or not your team is there. But all I know is that we're going to be with you. Sarah and I are. We literally will be from this point forward. Enter in-season mode. As LeBron James once tweeted out before every single postseason in the NBA playoffs, it's 0 dark 30. It's time to activate that. All else really doesn't matter when you do this for a living. These are the 4, 5, 6 months that you work for, whether you're in the player community, the analyst community, the creator community, the fandom community. I think that's what's so unique about this sport. So without further ado, welcome inside the channel. I'm Bobby Trosset. This is where I'm going to bring you pregame coverage all season long. Sarah and I, of course, over on the Vault side of things, will give you postgame coverage there. And starting tonight, probably right before midnight or so, if timing goes well, it'll be Ravens and Bills, and there'll be an ultimate outcome of tonight's Sunday night football contest that Sarah and I will be discussing at length and in detail. This episode is brought to you by a number of folks. Profit X, my newest brand sponsor, Primary Residential Mortgage, and of course, the ever-reliable Preston Automotive Group, who when I came on down here a week ago to St. Petersburg, Florida, to do a little bit of remote travel. By the way, I do have flights booked back to Baltimore for Ravens-Lions coming up in a few weeks on Monday Night Football. But Preston Automotive Group has literally, quite literally, powered me through this change, given the fact that, well, I've been driving around in my Bobby Baltimore Bronco for several years now. Guys, on the way in, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell. We have our first 10, that's right, 10 channel members. You can consider becoming one or gift-giving membership. And as always, we will open up the guest lines for pregame coverage. I'm sure you guys are enjoying this 425 window, and we'll also discuss what happened in the early window as well when it comes to AFC North teams, because guess what? There's already been a lot of activity, and 3 of the 4, aside from the Ravens, who will play tonight in Buffalo, have already played, and I have some thoughts on, of course, Cincinnati and Cleveland, and the Pittsburgh game, Aaron Rodgers, of course, against his former team, the New York Jets. And God forbid you tweet something out about Aaron Rodgers. God forbid you tweet something out about the Steelers without getting heard from. I guess that's the beauty of life in this spot when it comes to Ravens coverage and the high magnitude expectations that are coming with this season. Whether you want to call it Super Bowl or bust, I don't love that label. Whether you want to call it do or die, or just straight up another opportunity to be a Super Bowl contending team in year 8 of Lamar Jackson, you already know the stakes have been raised. And somebody who knows all about that, because every time he sits down on, what is it, Wednesday night, Sam? On the AFC North roundtable, the stakes are always raised. And I was happy to pass along the AFC North duties in terms of the roundtable to my friend Samuel Njoku from Ravens Talk Pod, crushing it in this space as well. Always enjoy the opportunity to chat with him. And right off the bat, let's bring in Samuel. It's great to see you, brother. Happy season to you. And man, there's a lot to look forward to. Obviously, there's a lot to discuss from what's transpired throughout the league so far today. We had Friday night football in Sao Paulo. Of course, it all got started on Thursday night. But for starters, it's great to see you. How was your offseason?
Offseason was pretty good. Very busy. Lots of, content creation, trying to make the most of no football. But now we have it back, and I'm very excited to see what the Ravens have in store for us, at least today, against those Buffalo Bills.
No doubt. Yeah, and we'll get into some of the injury reports that we learned on Friday, what the significance of what those might be. Both teams, I shouldn't say shorthanded by any stretch of the imagination, but both teams will have key players out. And we should probably start with your expectations on what that might mean for some personnel groupings if you're Todd Monken, because no Pat Ricard and no Isaiah Likely. Now, we're either one of those surprises. I certainly wouldn't refer to them as surprises, just because you and I and the entire beat community and everybody out there that have been following along with some of their statuses, knowing that, right, Pat hadn't practiced since August 14th leading into this week. Jaire Alexander hadn't practiced up until this past week. I think it was August 9th, if memory serves. He's going to give it a go. I'd imagine he's going to be on a pitch count. But with no Pat Ricard, I'm old enough to remember what these Ravens at their place did to these Bills not even a year ago on Sunday Night Football, this very format. They beat the shit out of them. I mean, and Pat Ricard was at the forefront of that effort. So, hey, a great day, a great time to have the deepest tight end room in the entire league. They'll try and flex that muscle tonight, I'm sure. But what are you looking at personnel-wise? Are we going to see more 3 wide receiver sets out there? Are we going to see a couple tight ends in Mark and Charlie and get Kohler involved in the passing game, somebody who doesn't often show up in the stat sheet in terms of his impact? What are you forecasting tonight personnel-wise?
It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Honestly, I was surprised that the Ravens didn't activate Lucas Scott from the practice squad, because I thought that he played well enough in preseason to maybe warrant a start as the fullback. But, the Ravens have him as a fullback tight end type deal. So I see the willingness to get Zaire Mitchell over there. He'll probably play a little bit. I think Charlie Kohler would be the guy that'll be that main blocker. Maybe they have him in at fullback sometimes. Who knows? But I think they will probably play a little more 11 personnel than we thought, a little more 3 receiver set than we initially anticipated. But based on the injury report that we saw from the Bills, Tre'Davious White might not be playing. I mean, he's not playing, but and Benson will be limited. And those two aren't really even that great of a cornerback duo as opposed to the some we normally see. So leads me to believe the Ravens might be trying to pass it early on. It's not snowy. It's not, weird conditions where footing's an issue. So they may decide to pass that ball a little bit more. But we also see a lot more read option. And sometimes when the Ravens win that read option, a lot of it is with just Derrick Henry in the backfield. So I think they'll probably try and run the ball, set the tone a little bit, but I don't think they'll be afraid to push it out through the air.
Let's listen to what Matt Ryan had to say earlier on the CBS pregame show. Of course, former NFL QB, Falcons, Colts. Now he's with the CBS broadcast crew. He just straight up, look, the Ravens, based on the long offseason that it was, all the noise that they heard, in particular what 89 heard, some of which was deserving, of course, throughout this offseason, they're coming in with vengeance tonight with perhaps revenge on their mind. Here's Matt Ryan. We'll talk about it after.
Teams who are watching that game on Friday night, that's the Buffalo Bills and that's the Baltimore Ravens, and they're our nightcap tonight with the Sunday night game. I think they smell blood in the water. They saw the result from Friday night, and they saw the Chiefs looking suspect, right? And both these teams have been knocking on the door in the AFC. Now is their time. They've got 2 great quarterbacks. They've got pedigree, regular season, postseason pedigree. But this season, I think the AFC is wide open, and I think these 2 teams tonight are playing for home field advantage at the end of the year.
Ooh, you guys got me grinning already.
It's early. It's early to make a statement like that, Samuel, but at the same time, we know how some of these AFC clashes are right out of the gate, and how months from now you go back and look at it. Look at the Ravens, for example, last year. They may not have been massive games, or I should say, let me be clear on that. The rematch of the AFC Championship game was a massive game. We know that. Yeah. But week 2, for example, the hangover from that against the Raiders at home, not exactly a massive game, had massive implications months down the line on seeding. The Ravens stare 0-2 in the face, still rip off 12 wins following that, still wrap up the division. We know that. But anytime you have the opportunity to let the road to, in this case, Santa Clara, come through your house and the bank, rather than having to go to snowy Buffalo, for example, you can go back to those first 2 games and absolutely look to them. So the significance, you get it. Point taken, right, by Matt Ryan in terms of the importance seeding-wise, everything-wise going into tonight.
Man, it can't be understated. It's huge, and especially for the Ravens, because let's face it, the Bills have a much easier path to the 1 seed than the Ravens do. If the Bills lose this game, we could still theoretically see the Bills as the 1 seed because their schedule is pretty soft. They have the Chiefs, and then they have the Eagles, and not much else in the realm of competition outside of maybe the Bills. I mean, maybe outside the Bengals in that regard. So I'm not saying that the Ravens have this must-win game in front of them, but I do consider that Ravens divisional round against the Bills to be a lost one, because primarily, in my opinion, because the game wasn't played in Baltimore where it should have been, especially considering that the Ravens had the tiebreaker over the win against the Bills in week 4. So, yeah, this is a massive, massive game for the Ravens. I think that Matt Ryan is correct. There is blood in the water. The Chiefs are not going to be as dominant as in previous seasons. I know it's hard to say that considering they've been to like 6 AFC Championship games in a row, but the Ravens and Bills are clearly the 2 better teams in the league. And if they want to push the envelope and make sure that the playoffs run through their respective cities, they need to get the job done tonight. So big time game for the Ravens.
Samuel, you mentioned the schedule just in case, and we don't need to get too deep into the weeds here from a Buffalo perspective because let's be honest, the Ravens may not see him again after week 1, or maybe they will. Maybe they'll have to come through Baltimore or vice versa. They'll see him at some point in January. But look at the on paper, and Roquan Smith's favorite term, paper champions. Look at the first few weeks for Buffalo and the way this thing is set up. It compares just over the first couple weeks for Cincinnati. You take the Baltimore game out of this, obviously, for the Bills. But Cincinnati, what they did today, finding a way somehow, and really Cleveland coughed it up, if you ask me. They're finally going to probably exercise their demons in terms of the slow starts because they'll have Jacksonville next week, and Cleveland literally found a way between Joe Flacco's pass catchers and the kicking unit to drop that game. So Cincinnati, a nice little cakewalk to begin its season. Well, what about Buffalo? It's on another level when you take out this regular season opener. Next week, they'll play the Jets. After that, again, this is the beauty of being in the AFC East, right, man?
Exactly.
Like, it's Jets, it's Dolphins, it's Saints who are starting Spencer Rattler, who's 0-6. I think he's 0-7 after today as a starter in this league. You've got, or at least with the Saints. You've got the Patriots. You've got, is that the Panthers or the Falcons there?
Falcons.
Looks like it's the Falcons. So again, on paper, it's the NFL any given Sunday, but you like the opportunity to go into the bye week if you're Buffalo in pretty darn good standing, Samuel, in part due to the AFC East, the challenge that is, or lack thereof, and what they have outside of that division.
Yeah, it's the AFC East is pretty it's pretty trash right now. I think the Patriots lost, the Dolphins lost, and who was the other team? Patriots, Dolphins, and Jets. They all lost today, and they didn't look particularly great while doing it. I know the Jets and the Steelers gave each other a bit of a fight there, but overall, there's not much to be desired, especially that week 3 matchup against the Dolphins. So they play these teams twice, and the Ravens have to play the Steelers twice, who always give them trouble. And they have Aaron Rodgers now. Whether or not you want to argue whether or not that win against the Jets was good or not, it is what it is. But the Bengals and Browns went head to head, and that was a 1-point victory for the Bengals. So lots of competition in the AFC North, not much in the AFC East. So yeah, the Ravens need to get this done. Get the win against Buffalo. You're the superior team, at least on paper. So get the job done, get that 1-0 advantage, and move on.
I can tell you pretty confidently that those that interact with me in the Twitter space do not want to have the Aaron Rodgers conversation. And I get it. I do get it. But my point all along this offseason is why write the guy off who's a future first ballot Hall of Famer who really obviously 23 was lost after a few snaps. And 24, when you're 40 years old, repairing your Achilles tear and trying to get yourself back into regular season form, it's just not going to look right. Now you have your first full off season for the first time since Green Bay. You have your first full off season post Achilles tear behind you with a non-rushed approach to it, I would think. And you couple that with the stability. I get it. You hate to say it. You hate to acknowledge it. But the stability that comes with a winning, consistent franchise in the Pittsburgh Steelers with the longest tenured head coach in this league, I think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to flirt with double-digit wins, and I could absolutely see them being one of those final seeds in the AFC in a wild card tough out come January. That's neither here nor there. We're talking about this game coming up tonight, and I want to know from you, since Jaire Alexander told reporters, as Jeff notes here on X at the end of last week, that he is undoubtedly good to go. Sometimes you got to protect these guys from themselves. It's been a long time since he played regular season football, Samuel. Like we know in January of this year, that's when he underwent, or right around there, maybe late December, early January, underwent that procedure for a PCL tear. He is highly injured over his last several years, but the bottom line is when he's healthy, which is why the Ravens took a flyer on him over 1 year, he's an all-pro caliber player. If you're on the managerial side of his playing time starting tonight, How are you handling that?
I'm definitely not playing him all 60 snaps or whatever. I think that's out of the question, in my opinion. You want this guy available for you in January. You want him available when it matters the most. And so I would play him as though the Packers are playing Micah Parsons right now. They have him on a pitch count. He's not a first and second down guy to come in on passing downs and get him going. So I'd put him in sub packages right now. So nickel, dime looks, those are the times that I'm having him out there. I want to have him more than 50% of the snaps at least. Unless you're 100% sure that his knee is responding accordingly. Maybe at halftime, you ask him how he's feeling. You get the doctor to take a look at it. If there's no swelling, you keep it going. But, yeah, I'm very cautious with his knee because this is the guy you want to have in December, in January. That's why you got him. You got him for the main haul, the long cause, which is getting to that championship. So, great as it would be to have him play 100% of the snaps and probably secure you a win in week one, you don't win Super Bowls in week one. If you did, then there'll be a lot more champions out there than there are currently. So have him on a snap count, get him going, make sure he's feeling good, and have him rested and ready to go for the end of the season.
I think it's well said. And again, sometimes you got to keep these dudes from themselves. They are prideful players. If in Jaire's case, he knows damn well, and you and I know both damn well, not only if he puts forth his all-pro caliber self at times this season, but if it's a fully healthy one and he's able to maintain that health, you already know he's getting an opportunity to get paid this time next year, well before this time next year, probably March of next year or somewhere in the 26-27 offseason. And whether that be in Baltimore or elsewhere, he's not even 30 yet. You already know he's gunning for that opportunity after not being able to agree with the Green Bay side of things, the two parties, on a restructured contract, given just how many games he has missed in recent years as a Packer. So he'll make his debut tonight as a Raven. There's other guys as well that'll be making their debuts, one of whom you already know we're going to be watching him closely. It's number 45 on the edge. Here he is from earlier last week.
Because I don't know who our second game is, so we're always focused on chipping at each level that we play, and everybody that we play, we make sure that we give them our all, because we respect them, of course, and we're ready for this week, and we just been preparing this whole time for this first game, and as the season goes on, of course, you can have more time to play the other quarterbacks, of course, but I think as of right now, we're focused on the main thing, and that's our next game.
Okay, Samuel, second round. We know why he dropped back in April. Mike Green out of Marshall. Prior to that, West Virginia? Am I remembering that correctly? He was the FBS leader in sacks last year, and we saw some of that. The reason as to why that was the case throughout the preseason, albeit a small sample size, a relentless motor. That one viral photo showcases just inhumane levels of bend, just quick as hell, violent with his hands, a fun player to watch, which is why I would assume Chuck Smith was very comfortable early on in the OTAs and offseason program to say things like, this dude is heavily skilled up. You see that I stuck my neck out here with my 25-26 prediction. I think he's going to be one of three. That's right, count them, 3 double-digit sack getters that are on Baltimore's defense this year. That's my prediction. Samuel, I'll let you share another prediction if you have one later on in the show. Live chat, let us know what your 25-26 lofty predictions. Not necessarily something that you think is like a guarantee, but a lofty prediction for the Ravens this upcoming season. I want to know from you, though, what do you make of this rookie based on what you saw on tape this preseason so far?
I'm very excited to see him play. And then the Ravens have an abundance of riches at the pass rush position. So I'm going to be very interested to see how the Ravens choose to handle it. I think Tavius Robinson most likely gets the start in this game because he's just so good at setting that edge. And I think that'll be very important in containing both Josh Allen as well as James Cook. But after that, I'd be surprised if you don't see Mike Green a lot in this game, honestly, especially in those third downs. But initially, I think it'll be a rotating move of pass rushers with Odafe Owe, Calvin Noah, and Mike Green, those three main guys going at it. So, yeah, he's going to be great. I'm very excited to see what he does. My concern with him coming out of college was that he was so relentless that he'd probably get beat on the edge. But what we saw in preseason was a guy who was not only relentless, but very cautious, very willing to let the play come to him and then attack the ball carrier. So my concerns has been dissipated. I think he's going to be a stud. Your prediction might not be too far off. I know Mike Green will be double-digit sacks. I think that could be pretty much guaranteed because he is a monster coming out the edge for the Ravens.
Just in case you were curious in terms of why I don't know if I should say I feel comfortable on that prediction. All right. They missed it by a decent mark last year. And just in case you guys needed a reminder, KVN, of course, on the other side of 30, leads the way, yet another resurgent season. And a lot of this obviously was due to what they had in the middle, disruption-wise, with Nnamdi Madubuike getting after it, Travis Jones, Michael Pierce prior to his retirement. But KVN did lead the way with 12.5, a career high for him, two-time Super Bowl champ. You already know he's looking for a third in Baltimore. The two previous ones were, of course, during his time in New England. Odafe Oweh gets his first double-digit sack campaign. It's a contract year for him. I feel comfortable that he could hover around that number again. Again, 10 was the number, just to be clear. And then, 3.5 off that pace was Nnamdi Madubuike at 6.5. And we all know what his 2023 season consisted of. I think it was easy throughout this offseason to almost refer to last year, Nnamdi-wise, as a letdown, which I think is a little lazy because it just takes away from what didn't show up on the stat sheet. The constant pressure, right? The double teams. I mean, you can go back and look at what Nnamdi had to deal with. They essentially were like, we don't want to get beat by this guy again. Somebody else on this defense has to beat us. And down the stretch, after 10 weeks, the Ravens were like, okay, we'll beat you in a bunch of different ways. Yeah. And so I don't know who three. I'm not sure which three it would be. But if I had to do it off the top of my head right now, it'd probably be, and I don't think this is, any groundbreaking thing, right? For my trio of sack getters here in the double-digit category, it'd be KVN, Odafe, and Mike. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on life after Michael Pierce, one, and two, just when you look at the outside linebacker room as a whole, do you think that this is a unit that may end up adding a piece between now and the November deadline?
Well, yeah, I am going to be closely watching the interior of that defense when it comes to stopping the run. It's something that the Ravens struggled with a little bit in the early goings of that divisional round against the Bills. Michael Pierce is just, last year you felt when he wasn't on the field, especially when the opposing team rushed the football. So it'll be very interesting to see what these guys can do absent of his talents. But I'm cautiously optimistic because I think that this Ravens offense will be in leads a large majority of the season, in which case these other teams are going to be passing the football a lot. So we'll see. As opposed to the OLBs, I think that David Ojabo is going to be a guy that we're going to have to pay close attention to, especially if we're not getting the type of pressure that the Ravens fans or even the coaches would want early on. Maybe they want to add another rotational piece, and maybe they don't believe that David Ojabo is that guy. I could see a guy like Jadeveon Clowney coming off the streets. I think David Ojabo is there until Adisa Isaac is fully healthy. I think the plan all along was to put Adisa Isaac in, and David Ojabo will be out. But because of the injury, of course, Ojabo secured the spot. But we'll see. I'd be surprised if he was active in this game. I think it's pretty sure he'll be inactive because of who the Ravens have to go up against. But, yeah, so far I'm okay with it. We'll see how the pass rushing numbers look, the win rates look, and then go from there. But Jadeveon Clowney is a guy who I'm paying close attention to as a guy who could be added on later on.
Of course, whether you wanted to or not, we all had to pay attention right before the weekend began when the rich got richer. Yeah. Zadarius Smith goes to Philadelphia. Color me shocked on that one, right? And then after that, weeks removed now from Judon being signed as well. So that does kind of leave, in terms of that category, the Ravens have plucked from in recent years, those cheap 1 year, whether you want to call them rentals or team-friendly kind of deals from some proven but also aging outside linebackers. Jadeveon Clowney really is that only name that's left, right? Am I leaving anybody off that list? It's got to be just Clowney at this point, right?
Yeah, Clowney's the only guy I could see them actually making the move for. His win rate in 2023 was awesome. It's one of the main reasons why they were so dominant on defense when they rushed up to the AFC Championship. So I can't see anyone outside of them actually being put on and replacing the young guys they have currently on the roster. But who knows? Trade deadlines can come, and you never know. 6 weeks from now, there's a guy on the market that they can go and get. But I think that they're really comfortable with the guy. I mean, we're being really gluttonous right now. We have Robinson, Adafe Owe, Mike Green, Calvin Noy. You can't. There's a lot of teams that would kill for that. So the Ravens aren't in any rush to do so, but every little piece helps. The Ravens want to get over the hump here. You see how aggressive they've been in the offseason and the talk around the facility about what they want to do this season. So I can see it happening, but we'll just have to see how this season starts out.
All right, brother. What kind of coverage you got coming up both tonight and then just in the days ahead? For those that don't know, just kind of remind them what you got going on in your entire palette here.
Sure, yeah. So I'll be doing a little bit pregame show here, not too much, just a 15-minute diatribe before the game starts, and then post-game show, Locked On Ravens with myself, Kevin Ostrecker, and Kadri Ismail. We'll be talking about the game about 90 minutes after the game ends, and then we have our shows twice a week. One will be Thursday, one will be post-game show of whatever game plays, and then Wednesday we're at the AFC North Roundtable with, if you're a Ravens fan on social media, you know all about Zim and all of the nonsense that he speaks. So I'll be having something to say about his performance, even though the Bengals got the job done. Not much in the way of that. And then, obviously, the Ravens Talk podcast will be on once a week and will be available on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Well, I want to thank you again for handling AFC North roundtable duties. It was just something.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely. It was something I needed to take off my plate last year, and I'm glad that you were willing and eager. And then I also have to congratulate you because you just reminded me that you were a Locked On hire, I think, within the last couple months, correct? Yep.
Hired on. I'm a full-time staff member now, part of the Locked On family.
Nice, dude. Congratulations. I love to see you continuing to diversify your whole portfolio here. And for those that don't already follow you, here it is. You already mentioned it, but at Ravens Talk Pod is not only the show name, but also your Twitter handle right there on X. And I'm sure you'll be very active as we kickstart the 25-26 season tonight, 8:20 in Buffalo. I told myself I just can't go back. Dude, I was literally down and out for 3 weeks with like pneumonia and all this shit getting back from Bills Ravens last year. It was insane. I couldn't do it anymore.
It's not worth it, man. Maybe in the postseason.
Exactly. If it's you know what? If it's a postseason rematch and it happens to be in Buffalo, I'll get my ass on a plane and go up there. How's that?
Sounds good. I'll be there too.
There you go. You enjoy it tonight, man. Tell Kevin and Kadri, give them my best, and have a fantastic season. If you ever need to return the favor, you know where to find me, and hopefully have you back on at some point down the line.
That's awesome. I'll hold you to that for sure.
All right. Thanks for the time, dude. Later.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Samuel Njoku, Ravens Talk Pod, just gave me 30 minutes of content. I appreciate him because it's a busy game day for us all. I appreciate you guys for being with us. This episode is brought to you by my newest friends. That's right. It's a new brand sponsor, and you guys know the drill. When you're full-time in the creator space, 4 years running now, hard to believe this is my 4th NFL season in the self-employed category when it comes to football content, around-the-clock type of coverage, whether it be with Sarah on the Vault, right here inside the Bobby Baltimore channel, social media circles, now the collective on Tuesday nights. I hope you guys will join Jeff Zaribek, Cole Jackson, and myself on Tuesday nights for the foreseeable future. Very much looking forward to all the different outlets of coverage. And I do want to say thank you to, again, our newest brand sponsor here inside this channel. That is my friends at Profit X. And you see the code that's on the screen. Make sure you memorize that or just go to it if you want to get involved with Profit X. That is my go-to for season-long plays and player props. It's America's #1 sports prediction market. You win real money predicting sports in 40-plus states, and you can see on screen right now the turquoise. What states are available? Take your pick. I know we got some folks. Taurus is down in Texas. I know that. For those of you that are in the Florida community, like I am now, Florida is a practicing member state with Profit X. Maryland is as well, and you can take your pick all throughout the map that they provided. Again, profitx.co is where you can learn more, and let me tell you more about them because you get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against others, not the house. With Profit X, you can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super fast payouts straight to your bank, your card, or if you're in the crypto game, that's an option for you as well. If you sign up at profitx.co, use promo code BobbyB, you'll get up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. So consider signing up now. Week 1 of this NFL season is a great time to do so. It's profitx.co. You can start winning real money predicting sports. Terms and conditions do apply. You can visit the show notes and also a direct link right now in the live chat if you're interested in learning more. Thank you guys for being with me tonight. It is 6:30. We are a little under 2 hours away from kickoff of regular season play, 25-26 season, week 1, the Ravens and Bills, and a rematch, of course, of 2 games last year. The beatdown in week 4 of the regular season in Baltimore, and we all remember what happened in the divisional round game in Buffalo, Ravens and Bills, on what was a blizzard-like type of night. And I know it because I lived it outside in that Baltimore around town pregame tent. It was insane. Now, obviously, what we watched transpire over the course of the weekend, or in this case, Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil, begs the question, is the AFC wide open? Is the AFC conference wide open? The Chiefs lost to the Chargers on Friday night in Brazil, and they looked pretty pedestrian. Look, I'm going to pump the brakes on essentially writing them off. Certainly not going to do that because we've seen, right? We've been prisoners of the moment before, I think. Some of us have, at least. I know many have in the national media community, of saying the Chiefs aren't shit. And then, well, guess what? They've played for a Super Bowl in each of the last 3 seasons, and they almost always figure it out when the lights are bright. But is the AFC, meaning atop the AFC, are they the most vulnerable they've ever been to continue to claim what's been theirs for years running now, and that is atop the AFC conference, that honor, right? And I do think that they might be the most vulnerable they've ever been. Now, at the same time, did not stop Teddy Bruschi, the former New England Patriot, from referring to this game tonight, pretty disrespectfully so, referring to it tonight, and looking at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and their respective teams going up against these Kansas City Chiefs, whether they're playing them or not. The Ravens obviously will in a few weeks at Arrowhead, but you'll know what I'm talking about after you listen to this clip from NFL Live, Sunday NFL Countdown earlier this morning.
One of the best offensive lines in the league in terms of Buffalo, with everybody bringing them back. I mean, is it Josh? Is it Lamar? That who's got things to prove? It's almost like these teams are the same to me, really. I mean, a lot of the players have been highly compensated individually. They've got the accolades, they've got the awards, but the teams haven't been validated with the World Championship because there's a team called the Kansas City Chiefs they haven't been able to get through. This is the Little Brother Bowl. Okay, I'm sorry to say it. It's the Little Brother Bowl right now. Okay, now is this game important? Sure. Playoff seeding down the road. Who gets this one's very important. But the point to prove through these, I know how these two teams are going to do. They're going to be great. They're going to win 12 games. They're going to win 13. But along that way, staying healthy and knowing that there's a little point that you got to prove down the road and not be that little brother anymore. Both of them are in the same boat for me.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple different things there from Teddy Bruschi. Love Bruschi, by the way. Don't agree with him here. Look, I get the sentiment, the Little Brother Bowl. These two teams aren't the same. One is on another level, both in terms of quarterback legacy, I would say, and 2, roster talent. The Ravens, for my money, the more talented team doesn't always win. Let's be clear on that. We were reminded of that. Case in point, going back to January. Okay, but the Ravens are the more talented, the deeper roster, 1. And 2, while these 2 quarterbacks for the respective teams tonight, both are on a Hall of Fame track. Lamar has the more impressive, diversified, legacy-defining type of resume so far through 7 seasons. So much so, it should be, obviously, a 3-time MVP, which would put him in more even of an elite category than he already is in at the quarterback position. Okay? Bruschi says the teams haven't been validated with a world championship because there's this team called the Kansas City Chiefs they haven't been able to get through. This is the Little Brother Bowl. The sentiment is understood. We get it. It's been Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Okay? 4 years now. So much so, Lamar Jackson once coined them as their kryptonite. I'm sure he regrets saying that. I don't believe they're his kryptonite anymore. You want to know who's the Ravens' biggest kryptonite? Those that look back at them in the mirror have been their biggest kryptonite in recent seasons. And so I think we can all agree that at this point in the Lamar Jackson evolution, 8 years running now, he gets ready to start his 8th NFL season as a member of the Baltimore Ravens organization. The one thing standing in front of this organization is itself. Whether that be in the postseason, really, I was going to list off a bunch of things. It's only in the postseason. I expect this team to run the table. I expect them to be in that 12-13 win category from a regular season perspective. I expect them to host at least one home playoff game. I expect them to dominate the AFC North. I still think they'll split their regular season series with the Pittsburgh Steelers and maybe have a trap game in there sprinkled, whether it be Cleveland related or perhaps Cincinnati related. We'll see what that ends up being. By the way, my neighbor Julie just dropped off. I just saw my new neighbor here in the St. Pete area just dropped off what she's referring to as, let's see what this is. Made burrito bowls for dinner, enough for one more. Do you want me to run one up? I kind of like the community that I'm a part of right now. I absolutely love that. She's also going to watch Tilly for me when I visit Baltimore coming up in a couple weeks for Ravens-Lions Monday Night Football. Like, I haven't even known these people for a week. I literally got down a week today. A week ago today, I've been down here. So anyway, it feels a little weird being outside the Baltimore area in season. I'll be honest with you. Feels a little weird being outside the upstate New York area, being that we're in season, because I'll be at both over the years. But it is fun, and I think it's a much-needed change for me from a social standpoint and also a romantic standpoint. And I'm sure in the Bobby Baltimore Discord server, we'll have plenty of updates on those conversations in the coming weeks, which does remind me not to get off on too much of a tangent because of a burrito bowl. But guys, if you haven't already joined the Bobby Baltimore Discord server, I would love for you to do so this football season. There are like-minded Ravens fans and Baltimore sports fans and just sports fans in general, like Holly, who's outside the bank. And what a beautiful day it is outside the bank. I believe they're doing a watch party at the bank the Ravens are hosting. It's coming up on 1,000 members. And when you join, like Mike just did, member number 920. Prior to that, Emily joined earlier this evening. Not only do you get a shout out, but you get free access to what's growing. And I'd love to get this number to 1,000 at some point in the near future so we can continue to grow this community. It's a great hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. And what I will do is drop the free access link. Again, this is free, okay, into the live chat right now if you'd like to join and come hang out there. But I think you know kind of what I'm getting at here. The final point that I want to make is that I get the sentiment of the little brother bowl. It's disrespectful, but I get the sentiment of it. For me, it's more about, hey, there's an imbalance, right, in talent when it comes to roster construction of these two teams. And the Ravens need to go out and remind the NFL world of exactly that tonight. They need to remind who the reigning MVP should have been. No disrespect to Josh. He's been an absolute class act really all week, saying things like this about his draft classmate back in 2018 and the quarterback he'll indirectly be going up against tonight.
They're a fantastic team. On defense, they've got some unbelievable players. On offense, you know, they've got one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, and Lamar Jackson. He's truly changed how people play the game of football, and I think that's really cool. And he's a special player, a special talent, special person. And, you know, I got a lot of respect for the Baltimore Ravens organization.
Saying stuff like that, I know probably some of you, it pains you to listen to it because you think it's scripted or you think it's fake or you just don't want to hear it from the opponent kind of gassing you up, giving you everything bread and butter that you want to hear. But to me, you got two class acts that I think some in the media, some within the fan base want to pin up against one another, which is a natural inclination, right, when it comes to fandom. But I'm here to tell you from an objective lens that each of these, this is my little thing that I like. This is a little worry stone. I don't know. I'm not a worrier, or maybe I am when it comes to Tilly as a protective father. But this is what I just use to sort of like calm my mind during broadcasts. I mean, at the end of the day, I got 542 people concurrently watching between two platforms. And if you think about what that number would look like in a room, even though I've done I think I've done a few thousand, matter of fact, as a, not to like, you know, dirt off the shoulder, whatever. But like when I was in college, I would work accepted students days and speak in front of like prospective students and their families. I think that had probably like 3,000-4,000 at a time. But imagine looking at 544 people smack dab in front of you. You might want to worry stone too, don't you think? Anyway, point is, these two are class acts. These two are future Hall of Famers. In a sense, you're probably going to see this matchup between these two players. Add in Mahomes, add in Burrow for years to come. The AFC is a murderer's row. It will have been earned over this 17-game, 18-week season should the Ravens have a chance to hoist this Lombardi. This is a first-place schedule right out of the gates leading into the bye. There is no shortage, right? There's just no time to limp out of the gate the way they did a year ago. Look at the way things open up for the Ravens, especially when you compare it to the Bills. Of course, it's Buffalo to start. Next week, they'll host Cleveland. It's the home opener. After that, and I'm in town for this one, I'm looking forward to it. Apparently, Park Heights Prophet is sending it all down at Lot G outside the bank. I might do a pregame show with him coming up for Ravens-Lions Monday Night Football. After that, you go to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs. After that, it's Houston, and then the Rams, and then a bye. Good God. That's my John Gruden. Good God. I'm watching too much John Gruden, can you tell? Speaking of John Gruden, get your ass fired up by listening to him with the King.
Is obviously Derrick Henry, the beast. You know, last year he got let go by the Titans. He's 30 years old, all the naysayers were saying. He's old. He's 30. Bullshit. This guy goes to Baltimore and 1,921 yards. He's the first running back in NFL history to have 1,900 or more with multiple teams. He tied for the league lead with 16 rushing touchdowns. He averaged 5.9 yards a carry. He's too old. No, you're just out of your mind. This guy's unbelievable. He's the 19th all-time leading rusher, 1,316 more yards, and Derrick Henry will crack the top 10 of all time. This guy is unbelievable. And when you really study him, you got to ask yourself, how did he make the 1,900 yards? 1,361 yards were made after contact. That means guys have a hard time bringing a beast on the ground. He led the NFL in making people miss. 100 times he made tacklers miss. So he's elusive enough to make you miss. And he's big enough to knock you out, man. This guy is a freaking great back. 675 yards he made after making somebody miss. He still has it. I was in Baltimore. I stood right next to him when he was in the I formation. I go, good God, I wish I could have coached this guy. This guy is really something. And when Lamar goes this way and Derrick goes that way, how do you defend that? There's a lot of great stuff in this Ravens system.
And Eileen, you're right. Don't forget about Keaton Mitchell. Expect him to get involved in some of the misdirection stuff, some of the trick stuff that Todd Monken has up his sleeve. Perhaps it's the screen game. Perhaps it's just eye candy. But you already know Keaton Mitchell will be a fixture one way or the other in this offense, even though it might be a small sample size because you got Derrick Henry, a future Hall of Famer, and the ever-reliable, crafty, shifty Justice Hill, who's hung around for multiple contracts in this league. And just in case that didn't get you fired up enough, here's more from Coach Gruden.
This is a high-octane group of badasses that are well-trained and they've had great continuity. And I think they're really pissed off about losing to Buffalo. I think this team really has something to prove. And I was there in Baltimore for a few days. Look what Coach Harbaugh gave me. My Raven sweatshirt. You see that? They even personalized JG on there. I feel like a Raven. God, I wish I was a Raven. Anyways.
Never change, John Gruden. Never change. If that doesn't get you fired up for tonight, I don't know what will. And you're right. The chat right now is shifting towards something that's happening right now as I put my Scott Hansen hat on because the Lions are getting thumped right now, okay? They're getting thumped. Green Bay and Josh Jacobs and Micah Parsons are putting a thumping right now on the Lions. That's in Green Bay. It's a week one performance. Plenty of pass rush skill in that one. That's a big-time matchup between the Lions between the Lions and the Packers. And, of course, the Ravens will see both of those teams coming up this year. They'll see the Packers in Lambeau. That one got a lot different, not only because it's being played in December. Good luck in that kind of climate. But they just added a future first ballot Hall of Famer in Micah Parsons via trade. We all know what happened at the end of his tenure in Dallas. And you can say all you want. Oh, who cares? He wasn't a component of what Dallas did to the Ravens or what the Ravens did to Dallas last year. Remember, that was a big game for them in week 3 because they were attempting to avoid an 0-3 start. That is somebody you have to account for. He didn't have the signature Micah Parsons kind of impact. They held him at bay much throughout that game back in week 3. But again, you join a group that's less of an entertainment venue, if you will, than the Dallas Cowboys show. And you go to a place like Green Bay that's got the foundation, that's already got a solid defense, and on top of that, a blossoming quarterback in Jordan Love. Look out for the Packers. I'm looking forward to that one coming up in Green Bay this December between the Ravens and Packers. But right now, it is all Packers in Wisconsin over the Lions. We'll follow that one as this thing continues to unfold. Thank you guys for being with me on this pregame show, the first of 17 throughout this upcoming regular season. Sarah and I, of course, will have your postgame coverage for you coming up after this one. It's an 8:20 kickoff. We typically start our postgame shows a little bit before midnight. We will wait for the press conferences to finish up and then immediately start our programming deep into the wee hours. I hope you'll come join us. Like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership or leaving a super chat, sharing your thoughts predictions-wise going into not only tonight, but this upcoming season. You know, Clinton and many others, once I pulled up the Gruden content, you mentioned the Derek Carr content. And man, oh man, of course, he retired from the National Football League right before this season began. Spencer Rattler now is your starter in New Orleans. The Saints appear to be going nowhere fast. But I think Derek's media career could be anything but. It's going anywhere fast, anywhere he wants, because he was on a show, and this clip of him breaking down film went stupid viral, and my God, is he talented. Watch this.
We're going to have an under concept right here up top. We got an under up here. We're going to motion lad down, and look at our board. What is happening? Brandon Marshall, can we get some help here? I'm just going to tell you, we're going to have an under route here. We're going to motion lad down. He's going to run a corner route. We got an out route right here. So we got a true top-down throw. Why I love this throw and why I love this play is these defensive linemen aren't coming to pull your flag. They're not going to Gruden. There goes Gruden. I can't help myself.
Listen, before you go forward, are you telling me these plays that you're about to show us is going to convince us that he's the guy?
100%. I'm just going to show you. This is what I think Justin Herbert is when he's at his best. And look, like I said, these guys aren't coming to pull your flag or two-hand touch you. They're coming with bad intentions, man. So watch this. I'm gonna hit this play right here. We're gonna motion lad down. This is at the end of the game. Now I'm gonna pause it right here. How would you like this pass rusher to hit you in the chin when the game's on the line? Watch this throw that he makes to Lad in stride, on time, for an explosive gain to put his team in position to win this football game. Absolutely beautiful. That's why I think he's awesome. Now watch this. Now this is an even better one. I'm going to pause this one right here because there's so much going on this one. First of all, let me tell you one thing that I know is this guy right here, he's a problem. And he's going to be an issue for them all night if they don't have a plan for him. What's the protection plan? What's the plan for 95? Help. If I'm correct, help. What is the plan for 95? So we got a sail concept coming over here. We got a post coming over here. We got a too high. Look at this is our flat control. What is a flat control? He has the flat. Our running back's supposed to be in the flat, but he can't get there. Why? Because 95 is too freaking good.
Hold on. Finish
they can't block him.
Gruden's voice. You got to finish the rest of Coach Gruden's voice.
Listen, I'm going to get there. Don't you worry. I can't help myself. Gruden just comes out. You're going to see Herbert move in the pocket. And watch when I hit play here. So we get our back heating up. He steps up. When I pause it right here, there's not a quarterback coach in the world that's going to tell you to cut this ball loose to this sail route. You got the flat defender. There's nothing in the flat to hold him. He's sunk underneath it. Corner's eyes are inside. Don't throw this ball. But watch this throw that he makes. He said, I didn't care. I'm ripping this sail in a place where the DB can't get it. There's no defense for the perfect throw, Tyron. No. And sometimes you picked me off, and it made me really angry, man. Listen to this. Hey, I'm going to tell you what Coach Gruden always told me when we were getting ready for this defense. Right here, You know who this is? This is the honey badger, man. Hey, Carr, he's not coming for me, man. He's coming for you. Look at Herbert. You're going to have pressures all night. There was 50 unblocked guys in your lap last year. You don't think Spags knows that? They're going to send pressure all night. We got an unblocked guy here. He's going to be unblocked. Is it this guy's fault? Is it this guy's fault? His fault? Hey, is it Harbaugh's fault standing over here on the sideline with holding his play sheet saying, hey, who's got that guy, man? I taught you this. All I know is guess who has to answer the questions at the end of the day? It's the quarterback. That's why you guys pay us money. That's why I got a nice watch. All right? But that's why we deal with these problems. Watch this throw. We don't get a good release up top, but watch this throw with the guy in his face. Guy in his face, dot. I believe that these are the type of throws, and it's going to come down to this at the end of the game. I really believe that these are the type of throws he's going to have to make to win this football game. But hey, QB.
Oh, man, which big network is going to pick up Derek Carr? Because that right there, the pacing, the obvious football acumen, the ability to explain high-level terms in layman's speak, that was phenomenal from Derek Carr. I'd have to think he's going to be working for a big major network at some point, should he want it. Hell of a breakdown. Again, that was before Chiefs-Chargers, and Justin Herbert had himself an evening, 27-21. Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers beat the Chiefs in week 1. And let me just be clear too, because I think oftentimes, speaking of pinning up players against one another, or players catching strays, or, in this case, Justin Herbert's PR team. I so want Justin Herbert's PR team was a hilarious comment that was thrown into the live chat on the Vault earlier in the week. And I found it to be funny. I also want to be clear that when it comes to Justin Herbert, I think sometimes there can be this added connotation in some of the criticism around him, not because of the potential, not because of what he is capable of, not because of what he has accomplished, albeit a small sample size of consistency. He's only 4 games above 500, by the way, since taking over as a starter with the Chargers. As a career regular season starter, he's only 4 games above 500. Okay, so he hasn't been able to do what Lamar has been able to do, and that is overcome certain dysfunction around him. Lamar, in part, overcame the dysfunction on the back end of his defense on the opposite side of the ball, obviously, through 10 weeks last year. At times, he's overcome limited weapons around him at the wide receiver position. At times, he's overcome, or sometimes hasn't been able to overcome, albeit the AFC Championship game, coaching malpractice, giving up the run, or abandoning the run, so on and so forth, right? But he has consistently built up those around him. I think Justin Herbert's done that to a certain extent as well. But when you look at the overall body of work, I think the simple conversation is, while respecting Justin Herbert, the player, the human, and the potential, he just shouldn't be in the same conversation as the Lamars, as the Josh Allens. Of course, everybody's chasing the Patrick Mahomes, as the Joe Burrows. And I think it should start and stop there. Like, there's nothing demeaning about criticizing Justin Herbert's PR campaign or those that want him in that category. Bottom line is, his resume doesn't yet command that kind of conversation or that kind of seat at the table. It certainly could at some point, and perhaps Jim Harbaugh is going to do exactly that, give him a seat at the table. But the jury's still out. And so I think it's just important to have that conversation while also acknowledging it's not a demeaning conversation. No, it's just looking at the full body of work, looking at the accomplishments, looking at everything that's gone into these players' careers at the most important position in all of sport, that is the quarterback, and then ranking accordingly. Anyway, Clinton, thank you for bringing that up, because Derek Carr, man, is so freaking fun to watch. Let's take a look around the AFC North. I promised you that I would get there, and let's go there now. The Bengals squeak out a win in Cleveland, week 1, 17-16. Browns go down in heartbreaking fashion. Okay. As I tweeted out, this was a winnable, and I mean winnable, game for Cleveland. But they just coughed it up, man. 2 deflected footballs from Joe Flacco that turned into interceptions hurt them badly. Their kicker not only missed an extra point, but missed a field goal as well. those two teams did Joe Flacco no favors. By the way, it is 27-6 right now. Packers over the Lions with over 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter, so that should be that. Anyway, with Jacksonville coming up in week 2, as I already referenced, the Bengals are in the driver's seat to avoid what has plagued them in years past, and that is dreadfully slow starts. They are set up nicely to go into week 3, 2-0. I believe, if memory serves, they will play the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, I think, are going to be a tough out. Let's see what they're doing right now. They're hosting the Tennessee Titans in week 1, and there's just over 7 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Denver leads Tennessee 20-12 in Cam Ward's first game and his NFL debut at the professional level. Bo Nix playing well so far, at least statistically speaking, but I got to be honest with you, I obviously can't do things two things at once: watch that game, evaluate the quarterback play, and ultimately host this show. So let me know, how is Bo Nix playing? Do the numbers bear that out in terms of him playing well? Bottom line is, winnable game. That hurts for Joe Flacco and company. I saw Myles Garrett get up there in his post-game press conference and say, hey, Joe played well enough to win. We got to rally around him more. Good luck, because it's not going to get any easier for them. Okay, live chat, go easy on me here, and I'll go easy on you, because as I tweeted out earlier today, I don't know why some within the Ravens fan base have written off Aaron Rodgers. That's not to say I don't know why folks haven't expected the best from him or rooted for the guy. No, it's simply, why have some, maybe some of you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that are currently live, but let's call it some within the Ravens Twitter space, why have they overlooked this acquisition? Yes, Aaron Rodgers has been far from Aaron Rodgers-esque now for multiple years running, but there's a reason as to why. One, he's been a New York Jet, and that's come with several, it's a coaching carousel, it's a coordinator carousel, and there's, let's be honest, a lot of dysfunction. I liked what I saw from Justin Fields today in some of the plays that I watched. I was flipping back and forth between red zone and actual CBS coverage of that game. My hope is that Justin can successfully resurrect his career, because if he can't, well, they're going to be going after the Arch Mannings and all the other quarterbacks that are coming out of the 2026 class and rebuilding yet again under, again, a new head coach in Aaron Glenn, who wanted nothing to do with Aaron. Aaron is not getting any younger. This is the tail end of his career. And while there's a lot more to the story, obviously mobility, he still struggles. He took some wallops in today's game, and there's a lot more than just reading the box score. I recognize that. He can still sling it. He is still a high-level processor, and quite honestly, the arm strength and the processing is never going to go with him, which is why all offseason long, I've just simply stated, hey, don't overlook this acquisition. I think the Steelers are not only going to flirt with that 9-10 win category, but they're going to sneak their way into the postseason. I see them splitting the regular season series against the Ravens, as they typically do in recent years. And Rodgers, should he stay healthy, again, the mobility is going to be an issue for him should he want to stay healthy. But this Steelers team, just don't turn a blind eye to him. That's all I'm saying. Don't be overlooking what they have. 22 of 30 today, 244 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and the Steelers beat the Jets. I'm not even going to look at the live chat. I know it's an onslaught right now. It's probably looking ugly. 34-32. Pittsburgh improves to 1-0. Cleveland drops to 0-1. Cincinnati starts 1-0. And that is your look at the AFC North. I'm sure a lot of you are saying, it's the Jets. It's the Jets, Bobby. Shut the hell up. I get it. It is the Jets. Is it the same old Jets? I don't know. All I'm saying is that Aaron Rodgers, for the first time since the Achilles tear, has had a full, non-rushed rehab type of offseason. He's got absolutely nothing to play for at this point. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And sometimes when you got nothing to lose, you just never know, especially when you throw yourself into the structure, into the stabilization that is the Pittsburgh Steelers framework. Consistency, right? Stability. That is exactly what Mike Tomlin's Steelers are. And he is, along with John Harbaugh, 1 and 2, the longest tenured head coaches in this league. What is it now? 16 and 17 years respectively, or 17 and 18? One of those two. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Should we open up the guest lines? Because I want to know where you guys are at. A couple super chats as well. So why don't I do this? I'm going to drop the link in here right now. And if you'd like to join me, I would love for you to. Here's the link to do so. Guest lines are officially open. I'm curious. Thanks to Samuel Njoku for joining me, by the way. Go check out what he's up to on the Ravens Talk podcast. And he'll be on Locked On Ravens post-game as well. We're working our way towards, of course, week 1 of this NFL season for the Ravens coming up tonight. It's an 8:20 kickoff in Buffalo. And I love boba. Is it boba or baba? Boba or baba? And thank you for letting me know that Keaton Mitchell is apparently inactive. I needed that reminder because the inactives are right here. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. We'll get an update on today's inactives because the Ravens have just released them, and Keaton Mitchell finds himself on this list, which is, I guess, in one breath, somewhat of a surprise. But at the same time, if you've been watching this team and covering this team the way we have all offseason long, Todd Monken essentially said, hey, it's going to be tight. Touches and carries are going to come at a premium when you have a future Hall of Fame back that you extended this offseason, and Derrick Henry, right? 1. And 2, we all know what Justice Hill means to this group. But still, I'm somewhat surprised that Keaton Mitchell is inactive. He told Sarah and I over the weekend during the draft back in April, it's going to be a movie. Of course, Keaton had a very serious injury. He's not even 2 years removed from that serious ACL tear, some ligament damage in there dating back to December of 2023. Keaton, as far as week 1 is concerned, who figured to be involved in special teams too, is inactive. I'm very curious to hear some thoughts on that as we kind of process that and react to it right now. Thanks, Boba T. Ruben Lowry, one of the undrafted rookies who have made this roster, he is inactive. Pat Ricard, of course, who's dealing with a soft tissue injury related to his calf, he is inactive. Carson Vinson, the rookie, he's inactive, as are Isaiah Likely and David Ajabo. No real surprises on this list outside of, again, Keaton Mitchell. Tre'Davious White, meanwhile, is officially inactive. He will not play for the Buffalo Bills coming up tonight. Another super chat here from Brian Imhoff. Brian says, do you think Michelle was not brought up because of tight end? Michelle. Are you referring to, who are you referring to right now? Because Zaire Mitchell-Payton is the tight end. Or maybe Mitchell. Is this Mitchell? Brian, let me clarify who you're referring to here, because Zaire Mitchell-Payton, one of the undrafted tight ends, was called up as a game day activation, a standard game day activation. Are you referring to Keaton? Because Keaton's on the 53-man roster. He was just listed as inactive tonight. So the Ravens went away from Lucas Scott, for example. Okay. So Lucas Scott remains on the practice squad as a fullback, no Pat Ricard. And because Isaiah Likely is down, the third tight end, if you will, tonight will be Zaire Mitchell-Payton. Brian says spell check is Mitchell. Okay, do you think Mitchell was not brought up because of tight end? That could factor in. I don't know. I got to kind of view this as potentially tight end related. Let me just check one thing. It's obviously a roster game day number type ordeal. I don't know, man. So Rasheen Ali gets RB3, if you will. He'll be handling return duties, I would think. And Justice Hill will be involved in that as well. David Ajabo is a healthy scratch. That's 4 outside linebackers they're going with. But again, Rasheen Ali looks to be RB3 tonight. And I'm guessing he'll handle some kickoff returns with Justice Hill. So, yeah, I mean, I'm somewhat surprised by this, for sure. Very surprised, matter of fact. Let's open up the guest lines, get some immediate thoughts to Keaton Mitchell being listed as inactive in week 1 to start off this regular season. I'll do it in terms of order of when you guys popped up into the waiting room. Extra Butter is in the house. My guy Will and 305 Mike. It's bang, bang, bang. Let's get it. Let's open them up. Extra Butter's in the house tonight. Happy game day to you, my friend. You called at the end of last week. I know you're probably even more fired up than you were on Friday. Talk to me, my guy. Talk to me.
I'm gonna be honest, Bobby. I don't know what the hell Todd and John is thinking of not having Keaton Mitchell active. He's a part of that three-headed monster, but hey, I'm not a part of the coaching staff, so it is what it is. And yeah, I know you saw the Chargers took care of business against the.
How'd I know you're gonna go there, huh?
Hey. But
hey, an extra. And let me just tell you too. And by the way, what do you want me to call you? EB?
We can go with James.
James, okay. So hey, you already know I brought that segment in for you because Justin Herbert lit it up on Friday night. And I thought Derek Carr did a great job, even though that segment was before the game actually concluded. I thought he did a great job of just sharing the high-level processor that is Justin Herbert. I'm with you. I could see him being unlocked this year by Jim Harbaugh. It's year 2. Obviously, he went through a lot of dysfunction with Brandon Staley and some of the quarterback and coordinator carousel, or I should say the coaching and coordinator carousel during his first few years there as a Charger. I think the pushback has been, at least in Ravens circles, hey, we're not doubting the potential that Justin Herbert has. We're doubting some of the folks that refer to him in the conversation as like franchise starting players, like the Lamars, the Burrows, the Mahomes, so on and so forth. Is that fair?
Yeah. Herbert is actually kind of sort of reminding me of Kaepernick in a way, just off the simple fact because he has both Jim and Greg as a head coach and an offensive coordinator. So, I mean, Herbert is using his legs a lot more than he ever has in his career, ever since Jim got there. And it's paying dividends.
I was going to say, when you bring in Greg Roman, when you bring in Jim Harbaugh, their entire organizational shift has been around the run. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. They're going to be a tough out, no doubt. Ravens won't see them in the regular season. Perhaps they'll see them at some point in January, should Jim Harbaugh and everybody be able to sustain this. But hey, James, great to hear from you. Any thoughts on the Keaton Mitchell conversation before you leave? I know you mentioned that you were surprised, but I think this has everything to do with how they view Rasheen Ali. And maybe this thing came down to special teams, kickoff return duties, because ultimately there's only so many targets and shares and touches that Todd Monken can tally up. And ultimately, this brings me back to comments made by him earlier on in the offseason that say, look, it's going to be tough. Essentially paraphrasing, it's going to be tough to keep Keaton involved just because of the embarrassment of riches they have, not only at the running back position, but literally throughout this offense.
I mean, my take on it, I don't know why they would do this. I mean, it I can't figure it out, but I mean, I guess we'll see once the game starts. But don't be surprised once Mitchell is active and he does get a couple touches on that field. Don't be surprised that you see flashes of 2023 Keaton Mitchell, if not better. In my honest opinion, and this is another hot take, I feel like Keaton is better than Justice, but right now Justice is more established and more versatile, to be honest. I mean, he can catch it out of the backfield, he can carry the ball, and he can do pass protection. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but I feel like Mitchell is going to finish at the second as the number 2 running back once the season is over, in my opinion. Falls in the depth chart, in my opinion. That is my hot take.
All right, James. Appreciate you, man. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll catch up with you post-game, all right?
Definitely.
Later, man. Thank you guys for all the love tonight. Over 700 of you concurrently watching this pregame coverage. Back to the guest lines in just a second. But as you see on the screen right now, the surprise roster configuration of the day in terms of week 1 is that Keaton Mitchell, the former undrafted rookie who lit it up in 2023 prior to tearing his ACL in December of that season, has been listed as inactive. He will not dress today for the Ravens. Instead, they will go with Derrick Henry as RB1. They will go with Justice Hill as RB2. And of course, now Rasheen Ali, the former 5th round pick out of Marshall, gets RB3 duties, which is mostly special teams coverage units and perhaps some return kickoff duties. Maybe Justice Hill will be in on that as well. So that is definitely a surprise. For Keaton, my heart aches for him, to be honest with you. It's just 1 week. We'll see if this becomes somewhat of a regularity, but it does take you back to Todd Monken's comments from earlier this offseason where he essentially suggested, hey, it's going to be tough to get Keaton Mitchell involved because of every player that presumably is in front of him, if you will, in terms of touches all throughout this star, and I mean star-littered offensive attack. So again, these are your inactives. Really no surprise on here whatsoever outside of Keaton Mitchell. Won't dress tonight, week 1 in Buffalo. Will, you're up next. Then 305 Mike and Dreams. The guest lines are hot, and this live stream is hot right now. If you could, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership on this Sunday. We're working our way towards 8:20 kickoff in Buffalo. About an hour and 10 minutes away right now. We'll be live tweeting as always. Sarah and I will be. And then, of course, we'll start our post-game show coming up hopefully quarter of midnight or so and go into the wee hours, which means this will enter into my lifestyle, which means this, meaning my heart rate, will go through the roof. Anyway, Will, good to see you, my brother. Happy game day to you. And you know where we're going. The big surprise right now is Keaton Mitchell's inactivity. That's what we're going to talk about. Your thoughts on the Ravens roster decision to do so?
I am personally very kind of shocked with that. I raised an eyebrow when I saw it literally seconds ago. And I'm just like, Ali over Mitchell? I'm like, I get how we're going to use him in special teams, but Mitchell's that hard pound, the speedy guy. No disrespect to Ali. Ali's a great back, but Ali, when I think of punt return, I want it down the field fast. And, of course, evading tackles. So I'm just kind of iffy on it. But, hey, they have a game plan. We're not the coaches here. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, Brian's right here in the live chat, right? He says, hey, they're going with 5 inside linebackers, 4 outside instead of 4 running backs. So that might kind of tell you what they feel like they need, what they feel like they have on the other side of the ball. This isn't just simply an offensive discussion when it comes to the roster configuration, the diagnosing that needs to happen on game day when it comes to call-ups. Obviously, no Ricard and likely factor in here. You got to call up Jaire Mitchell-Payton, one of the undrafted rookie tight ends, to be tight end 3, if you will, which I'm assuming is mostly special teams, mostly a reserve role for him. Should there be any kind of issue there in terms of, God forbid, they have to go to Jaire Mitchell-Payton, and then they ultimately decide to not call up Lucas Scott with no Pat Ricard, who hopefully will be back at some point in the near future, because once they get this thing rolling, heavy personnel-wise and their ground game, you want 42 to be opening up all kinds of lanes and holes for Derrick Henry and their running backs. So anyway, that's the Keaton Mitchell discussion. Guest lines are still open, and we'll share a game day thought elsewhere, though, where your mind goes now that the 25-26 season has officially commenced. I see you got your number 52 jersey on. I would have seen that coming. But live from the dorm. Look at the dorm in the background. You got the flat screen that's up in the corner there. You got your jersey on. Look at you. You look like you're pretty settled in right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, dorm's looking nice. I mean, my dorm mate is not here yet. He's coming back from Tennessee. He went to go see the Vols game with family and his girl. But, he's a Browns fan, so obviously he had a tough day with the kicker. I had some friends coming over later. I was, telling them to hold off a little bit because I'm getting on this call, what was I going to say? Brian, what he was saying about the 5 linebackers. I was thinking, because of the last time we played the Bills in the playoffs, Josh Allen ran for 2 touchdowns on the goal line. And we're like, we might need some help in that area in that sense. Also, there's James Cook, which, again, I'm still shocked how much they downplayed James Cook, even though tying the league in touchdowns in rushing, I believe. But, yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, now that I think about it. And then, yeah, I'm just super excited for tonight. But also very petrified, and I do not want my friends to blow me up and be like, if the Ravens get blown out or lose or whatever. But hey, dorm life, first game in the dorm, we'll see how it goes, and I'm super excited for it.
Enjoy it, dude. It goes fast. And if everybody's wondering, again, those 5 inside linebackers that the Ravens are going with, which may have altered their plans with Keaton Mitchell, and may also, to Will's point, be a total correlation between what they feel like they have there, what they need against Josh Allen, and this James Cook running attack. They're going with Roquan and Trenton, of course. That's who you expect to be your starting inside linebackers. Trenton, of course, will be on the weak side of that pair, you would think. But they also will have Jake Hummel, who make his Ravens debut, the special teams ace they brought in literally early on in free agency. Was it day 1 or day 2? They brought him in from the Rams. Teddy Buchanan in line to potentially make his Ravens debut today, as is the undrafted rookie who everybody loves because of his father and because of the way that he plays, and that is Jay Higgins. So those are your 5. They'll go with 4 outside linebackers and then 3 running backs, and sneaking his way into the active game day roster. 53 today is, of course, Rasheen Ali, the former 5th-round pick out of Marshall. Will, you enjoy the game, brother. I'm sure we'll catch up at some point in the next couple of days, all right?
Thank you. Of course. Thanks for having me. And Fat Country Boy, keep talking. I don't care. Keep talking. I see you
he's going to keep talking. He's going to keep talking.
Right.
He doesn't want any of this, man. He wants nothing to do with that 52 jersey down there. He would kill to go back to his freshman year of college, but I'd love to know. Well, you know what? I'll handle him in a second, Will. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Man. Appreciate you. Yeah, PKB, man. He's just so unhappy, isn't he? He wants to go so badly back to his freshman year of college, but I just get the sense that he got absolutely zero tail. That's the first thing that comes to me. I think PKB, when the lights are bright, that's when he falls flat. No game, no tail. It's just not something that is synonymous with PKB. Back to the guest lines we go. Over 700 of you currently joining on what's a big show. It's a week 1 show, and it's after 7 o'clock, which means we are coming up on that 1-hour countdown to Ravens-Bills under the primetime lights and back where the scene of the crime took place in January in Buffalo. 305, Mike, you are up next. The guest line link is in the live chat if you guys would like to pop on. And 305, we're coming to you, baby. We've got your Maryland colors on. You're looking clean tonight. Good to see you, brother. You're muted at the moment. So go ahead and unmute that sucker and let us know how you're feeling on this game day. And we can come back to you in a second. There you are. What's going on, dude? Oh, Mike, you're still muted. What's going on? Let's come back to you. Why don't you come in and out, all right? Dreams is in the building. It's Virginia's finest. He's even showing off the little cut sleeve for the boys. Those sub-6-foot dudes in the building right now. 5'8" with the proper shoes on. 5'7" with the proper shoes on down there in Central Virginia. That boy's looking clean right now. Happy game day to you, my friend.
Baltimore. Yes, sir. I'm hyped. I'm ready for the night. It's a shame they made us wait up until 8 o'clock to watch some Ravens football, but, we here. Better late than never.
Right. And there's 800 folks concurrently watching tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks to Profit X for sponsoring the episode. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. And now, Dreams, it's your time. Keaton Mitchell, as you see up on the screen right now, is sort of the big talking point as we get ready for that hour countdown to kickoff. Your thoughts on the healthy scratch, Keaton Mitchell being on the outside looking in, and Rasheen Ali handling what appears to be special teams duties, potential kickoff return opportunities, and RB3 should he need it.
I don't really get the healthy scratch. I mean, you would want that 1-2 combo of speed and power, but, that's the game plan they're going with today. I'm tired of keep sitting my demon, though, David Ajabo. I wanted to see him play tonight. I mean, but it is what it is. Still should be a good game. I feel like they're going to run the ball. I expect a big game from Bake, though. I think Bake will have one of them games again, unless they hurt the secondary. So that could be a thing. But I don't know. I don't really get the whole Keaton thing. You would, especially for somebody that just came back from injury and he's 100% healthy, you would want him to play. But it's the coach's decision.
Rashad Bateman, as you mentioned back in January, one of the lone bright spots to that game from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, the second half had plenty of bright spots. I shouldn't say that there were no bright spots, but Bateman was certainly one of them. He had 4 receptions for 66 yards, a touchdown, a long of 42, as we all remember. He had 5 targets, and that worked out to be an average of 16.5 yards per reception. big play bait is absolutely somebody that broke out last year. And we had seen some of that early on in previous years, but last year was sort of that moment where you thought to yourself, is this a future 1,000-yard receiving type of player in Baltimore? And it would not surprise me if he ends up being exactly that and more this upcoming year. Obviously, no Likely tonight, no Ricard. Maybe, just maybe what you're getting at is what they're going to go look to do here. Establish that dominance early, right? I can't imagine Buffalo is going to give him too many light boxes, because if you do early, it's over. You start establishing your ground game, and then your passing game ends up being a complementary extension of that, good night. And this thing can get out of hand in a hurry. That said, I think there is an area within Buffalo's defense that the Ravens need to exploit after they establish the run early. With no Tre'Davious White, with Christian Benson, who's their talented corner, probably being limited after being banged up within the last few days, whether it's Zay, whether it's these three wide receiver sets that I know Samuel Njoku's calling for, with Zay, Bate, and D-Hop all on the field together with Derrick Henry and with a tight end, whether it be Mark or Kohler, that could be an opportunity to test this defense from a vertical standpoint and really open this game up. But again, Todd Monken has so many opportunities, I should say so many options personnel-wise at his disposal. I'll be very curious to see which direction he heads to early on.
Yeah, I need Mark to get that, redeem himself. I need a couple tutties from Mark tonight, though.
Well,
I need that. I feel like that'll heal some wounds.
You just made me think about what might be a force job early on, right? A red zone force job. You think Lamar almost like indirectly might be looking for Mark. That would not surprise me whatsoever. Don't be surprised if he maybe tries to force the issue to get Mark involved in the game early, get himself settled in. It's going to be highly, highly emotional coming up tonight, I would think. He's a pro. He'll handle it, but it sure would help if he gets the monkey off his back early, don't you think?
I surely hope so. I sure hope so, because it's been a summer for him. He has no choice but to redeem himself tonight. I need at least a tutty. If I don't get two, I need a tutty. I need one.
Hey, explain your offseason in one word. Give it to me. What was your offseason in one word? And then I'm going to DJ Bowflex next up in the waiting room.
Like I said, redemption. That's what it's going to be about. I feel like this is our year. I mean, it's cliche, but I feel like, we're redeeming ourselves in this our year.
All right, my brother. It's great to hear from you. I hope to do it again.
Likewise.
Enjoy this upcoming season, dude. I look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully down the line.
Yeah, I'll be in Baltimore next week for the Browns game. I doubt you'll be down, but yeah, I'll be out there.
All right, well, let me know if you're going to the Monday night game, because we might be doing a tailgate outside the bank that night.
I got you.
Stay tuned. Later, brother.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy tonight. We on Central Virginia's finest, DJ Bowflex. We're coming to you in just a second. Over 800 concurrents tonight. Big show. Like the video on your way in. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Consider joining the Bobby Baltimore Discord community. We are coming up on 1,000 members, and you can do so by clicking on that link, which is free to join, by the way. That's included as a pinned comment right now in the live chat. Go check it out if you haven't already done so. DJ, what's going on? You got that Agent Zero, so I'm guessing your inner demon mode coming up tonight, like 52
all day
in the middle part of that defense.
All day.
Retro had it as well. We got to get you a vault piece of merch. We'll work on that.
It's in the mail.
Okay,
it's in the mail. It's in the mail,
man. Hey, let us know where you're calling in from, what you think of this Keaton Mitchell deactivation, and one thing you're looking at tonight.
I'm calling in from Mississippi, around the central Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi area, leader of the Mississippi flock. Like he said, demon mode activated. Keaton Mitchell. I think Keaton Mitchell is pretty much deactivated tonight, more so from a one second, let me turn this TV down. More so from a power versus speed aspect. I feel like with them having a busted, pretty much hurt secondary. We're gonna have receivers like Njoku said, with the three receiver sets taking the top off. So you running pretty much power with Derrick Henry and screens with Justice Hill and sending Ali straight up the middle behind him. So I think that's pretty much why Keaton got the healthy scratch tonight. And what else you said?
Oh, just something that you're looking at, going into the season. Obviously, it commences tonight, and it's been a long off season. But I think when you take a look at what the importance of tonight can be from an analytical standpoint. And what I mean by that is really seeding. You look at last year and the fact that they were staring at 0-2 going on the road to Dallas week 3. I mean, that was essentially a must-win game. Now, they took care of the Cowboys. And when I say must-win, you know what I mean, not mathematically, right, but optics-wise, demeanor-wise, that was a must-win game. And Schatz, who's a big analytical guy here, according to the FTN network that he works for, says the Bills' Super Bowl odds increased to 18.6% with a win tonight. They dropped to 12 with a loss. For the Ravens, skyrockets to 24.5% with a win tonight. And we know the Murderers Row kind of beginning this first 6-week stretch that they have leading into the bye. With a loss, it drops the Ravens down to 16.8%. So again, it's not the be-all, end-all. It never is in week 1, but it would not surprise me, much like Matt Ryan said earlier on in this program on CBS, if tonight is all about seeding months down the line and will help decide where this thing, where the road to Super Bowl 60, if you will, and Santa Clara runs through. I mean, it's that kind of magnitude tonight.
With that being the implications, it is definitely a must win. We in the gauntlet at the beginning of the season, so it's definitely a must win. Definitely a must win. We can't start slow, so definitely something I'm looking at to happen. I'm looking at the secondary to be a whole lot stronger than we were last year. Hell of a lot stronger. And I'm anxious to see what the inside linebacker duo will look like. See if Trenton really took the step he's going to take, and just moving from there.
They went with 5 inside linebackers tonight, just in case you guys weren't paying attention during the inactive conversation a moment ago. We expect the same exact starters inside-wise to be as it was a year ago prior to Trenton's demotion. DJ, you would think that he'll handle weak side linebacker duties tonight. Maybe not on a full-time basis, but he and Roquan, you would suspect that they will be running mates to kick off tonight. Outside of that, Jake Hummel gets the of course, active. He is active, as are 2 rookies, 1 drafted rookie, 1 undrafted rookie, and Teddy Buchanan and Jay Higgins, respectively, who have a chance to make their Ravens debut coming up tonight in Buffalo. Anything else from you, DJ, before we let you go, brother?
Oh yeah, man. I got us winning tonight. I got to be in a 2-score win. Tonight.
Okay.
28-14 type win. Gonna be gritty in the box starting out, but yeah, we gonna take it.
All right, you heard it here first. The line's been hovering around 1.5 point underdog for the Ravens. We'll see if they go in and take care of business in what promises to be a hostile environment. This will be the last week 1, I think, in their stadium in Highmark. So there should be a lot of emotions coming up tonight on both sides for obvious reasons. DJ, thanks for calling in, man. We'll do it again soon, I hope.
Anytime.
All right, brother. Enjoy the game. Mississippi's finest. Call this shot. 2-score win for the Ravens. Let me know what your guys' predictions are in the live chat. I want to say thanks to Diesel Doctor for becoming my newest channel member, a Bobby Baltimorean, if you will. If you'd like to do the same, you can either gift give or you can become a channel member yourself by clicking on the join feature. I appreciate you guys in advance for all the support that you've been giving this channel and the Vault. There are polos like these all available to you right now at thevaultpod.com. And I do want to make sure to shout out my friend Holly Keefe, because she is in the building tonight. I think I saw this in the Discord group. Holly is in M&T Bank Stadium for the watch party. Thanks to Diesel again for the love. And let me just show off this, because this is what I love when people show up in the Baltimore area to Ravens-related events with Vault gear on. There is Holly rocking her Vault t-shirt. And again, if you guys go to thevaultpod.com/shop, you can get yourself a piece of merch, whether it be a golf polo, a simple t-shirt like that, a beanie, come fall, you name it. All that is available at thevaultpod.com/shop. And we appreciate you guys more than you know for all the support that you consistently give us. Inside, what's the rest of your name again? Inside the Squared Circle with King Judah. Man, good thing I got a little tab open so I can see that full name. I knew it was Judah. I just was trying to remember the full name here. Let's bring you in. Guest lines continue to be open. Look at the headset you're rocking right now. This guy's not messing around. You're muted at the moment, Judah, so unmute yourself and give me a thought on the game day activations and, in this case, the inactivations, if you will, starting with Keaton Mitchell.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, man. First, I just want to start out by saying I wanted to be positive. That was the goal until I heard that Keaton was inactive, right? So I'm gonna just get straight to business. This is another example of the Ravens being incompetent, and I'm gonna tell you why. I heard the people saying that this may be because they wanted more linebackers. Of course, they activated more linebackers, right? I get it, but at the same time, this is also a reoccurring thing with the Ravens where they refuse to play their most talented and explosive players. The Ravens are the only organization in the league that consistently refuse to put the fastest and most electrifying players on the field. Ever since I've been watching football, the first thing I learned when I first started playing football when I was younger is speed kills. And ever since I watched football, ever since then, I've always seen where teams found a way to put their fastest players on the team. No other team except the Ravens consistently tells their fastest player, you're not playing today. They're doing it with Walker, and they're doing it with Keaton Mitchell. And if you want to go back a few years ago, this is not the same thing, but it does prove my point. If you go back to the years when all our running backs was hurt, the only running back that was producing was Tyson Williams. I think that was his name. He was the most fastest, most explosive. He was the only one producing. What does Harbaugh do? Take him off the field and leave him off the field for the rest of the season. This is a reoccurring theme with the Ravens. They refuse to play their best and most explosive players. I like Justice Hill, but I hear people saying that he may be better all around. There is no evidence. As a matter of fact, the sample size of Keaton Mitchell is not big enough for you to justify saying that Hill is a better blocker than him. We have no evidence that Lamar Jackson takes more sacks when Keaton Mitchell is on the field. We have no evidence that Justice Hill is actually better than Keaton Mitchell. Again, this is another example of incompetence, right? But to be more positive, I do think we're going to win this game regardless. I think we're going to struggle more because, again, without that explosiveness, Keaton Mitchell can add a touchdown. With Keaton Mitchell on the field, to me, he's a given touchdown. Just having him on the field in 4 quarters, to me, that's a given touchdown. That's how big I am on Keaton Mitchell. So I do think we're going to win, Bobby, and I'm looking forward to it.
I love your fire, man. I love your fire. I think that sentiment is felt throughout this fan base. It was definitely a surprise, especially in the Twitter sphere when this inactive graphic was released. I know I was surprised. Ultimately, the coach's decision has Keaton Mitchell on the outside looking in. That means Rasheen Ali will handle probably primary kickoff return duties based on what we saw in the preseason, and he will be RB3 behind Justice Hill and Derrick Henry, of course. So you got a prediction for tonight. You're going to slap a score on that prediction.
Man, I usually have time to think about this. Let me do it real quick.
While you do,
24
coming after you. You know David Cure loves to come after us here. He says you're smoking crack. You got a response to David Cure?
Hey, one thing the fan base know about me, even though they won't admit it, over the years I've been watching you, Bobby, and following the Ravens content closely. I've probably only been wrong one time in like 4 years. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this plays out. But I do think the Ravens going to win 24-17.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going 28-24. So that's where I stand.
Gotcha.
You enjoy yourself tonight, my friend. Thank you for coming in with all that fire and passion. We'll see you on the post-game show late night, all right?
All right.
Later, man. Appreciate you. And speaking of passion, speaking of fire, I think Sarah and I got a whole lot of that, by the way, from a Friday call-in by the name of Park Heights Prophet. Enjoy a sermon and get blessed an hour before kickoff.
Sorry there, Vault. You caught me finishing up my lunch. What was on the plate, you might ask? Just a little bit of buffalo. What does it taste like, you wonder? What does buffalo taste like? It tastes like living off of yesterday. It tastes like, but he was almost there, but for 13 seconds. It tastes like excuses and entitlement. It tastes like a forced MVP.
Oh.
That city is only known for 3 things: losing 4 Super Bowls in a row, putting some sauce on some buffalo wings, and being close to some water that's spilling over that's not even theirs, doesn't even belong to them. And so it looks like you had a good guest on a minute ago. Seems like a great guy, but I can tell you what he's never seen in Buffalo. It's this. He's never seen this. He's certainly never seen this. And so what we're talking about here is a team that has never tasted glory. But we in Baltimore have feasted on Buffalo for a long time. And so as we go into week 1, we keep hearing those words, 20-0. Woke me up out of my sleep this morning. 20-0. You heard it walking down the street. You were in the grocery store. Maybe you were at the gym, driving around town. You were sitting in a meeting at work. 20-0. It's echoing all across the land. It begins in 2 days and 7 hours. It's not payback. It's not retribution. This is the first step towards glory. You see, we're getting ready to fly high. And as Andre 3000 said, spaceships don't come equipped with a rear view mirror. And so we're not looking back at January. We're not looking back at the past about what happened. Ignore the pundits. They make every week mean nothing. Every success feel like a letdown by holding us hostage to the failures of yesterday. Today's a new day. And we begin with a clean slate and a march towards greatness. Haven't won a Super Bowl yet. 20-0. Well, Mark dropped that pass in the end zone. 20-0. Lamar got left off of another list. 20-0. They find ways to discredit everything that we do. Give all the grace in the world to quarterbacks who haven't even won a playoff game. Quarterbacks who haven't made the playoffs since phones started text messaging. 20-0. Whole world tells us all the pressure in the world rests in Baltimore. 20-0. I'm going to turn my attention to Sunday to a nameless, faceless opponent from up north. I'm calling my shot now, guys. We're going to see that Jackson 5. Woo. Mike Green's having 2 or 3 sacks. We're getting a pick from Nate, from Malachi, maybe from both. Hamilton will probably have a sack. It's going to be an absolute beatdown in Buffalo. And you know why? Because I'm from West Baltimore, and we like our wings fried hard. And so what we're going to do is take a nice 410 boot and put it right up them boys from up north. And so the minute I get there, the minute I enter the town limits of that disgrace by the lake, just know that the mayor of Buffalo is no longer Christopher Scanlon, but it becomes the Park Heights Prophet. And so Buffalo will be my town from the minute I get there until the minute I leave. How can I be concerned with fans who have never seen a Lombardi except for in a museum? How can I be concerned about fans who will discredit their own team just so their quarterback can win an MVP and then lose to Patrick again? What could they say to us that they got a little bit closer, but they haven't? We're all in the same place. We're all starting 0-0. But we're going to come on Sunday, and we're going to show them what it looks like when a flock of Ravens get together. And so, Vault, you have got to be ready. Put all your energy. It's a slow, slow burn. We got 2 more days. So don't get too excited tonight. Sleep well.
2 more minutes.
Don't get too crazy tomorrow. Sleep well. But come Sunday, when that ball is kicked off, I just want to tell the Bills fans, if you're in here, I just want to tell you something. Any Bills fans who might be listening, any Bills fans who might watch this later, maybe it gets circulated on Bills Twitter and they want to try to dox me. Come and see about your boy wherever you want to go. But I'll be in Buffalo on Sunday, and I'm more than certain there'll be nothing but gracious when the mayor's in town. They'll say, there he goes. It's PHP. And there they go. That are the Ravens. Just want to let those fans who've been chasing the ghost of Mahomes, been living through the life of Jim Kelly, just know that I'm not coming to Buffalo to watch a Bills game. You're coming to the toe jam dumpster juice of a stadium to watch a Ravens game with me. And so it's Ravens 45, Bills 17.
One of our biggest, most loyal subscribers and supporters on the Vault side of things. He is really something else. Mr. Park Heights Prophet himself gave a sermon for the ages on Friday's show inside the Vault. We appreciate him. I appreciate all of you. 900 plus concurrently watching this show. And here you have it. You see the miles traveled going into this season. The Bills and Ravens, just over 10,000 apiece, a welcome sight, given recent years where the Ravens were traveling all over the country. It'll be 10,647 to be exact, and they've already traveled a good several hundred of those from Baltimore up until, of course, Western New York, which is where tonight's game will take place under the primetime bright lights. Week 1 of the 25-26 season commences in about, I don't know, where's our timing right now? 40 minutes time, 8:20 kickoff. It's 7:40 right now. And the moment Sea King, King of the Seas, says I'm eating buffalo wings in honor of our win tonight. I hope you enjoy yourself, Sea King. And I got to tell you, this is year number 8 for Lamar Jackson. It has been an absolute pleasure following his career, and yet another opportunity for him to chase that coveted Lombardi trophy tonight against the Bills, of course, where it all took place and all came crashing down in heartbreaking fashion 6+ months ago in January in the divisional round. Watch tonight for Mark Andrews to get involved in this game early, and Lamar making a concerted effort to doing exactly that and a whole lot more from an offensive attack standpoint. No Keaton Mitchell. That means Derrick Henry, Rasheen Ali as RB3, and Justice Hill as RB2 will be your backs. DeAndre Hopkins makes his Ravens debut, as does Tyler Loop at kicker, and there'll be many others, including Jaire Alexander at cornerback, Mike Green at outside linebacker, somebody that they have major high expectations for. And on the back end, getting a start in his first NFL game with no Ardarius Washington back there is Malachi Starks, the former first-round pick out of Georgia. One of many things that we'll be watching tonight. Sarah and I, of course, will be live with you coming up after this one's over. Balti Raven, I'm sorry, I'm up against the clock. I hope you can call in at some point in the next couple days so we can open up these guest lines again. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. You can follow along with me on X or Twitter for in-game live tweeting at Bobby Baltimore the second this thing gets underway. I look forward to that. I look forward to all of you guys joining us tonight inside the vault for probably an 11:45 start time, maybe around midnight or so. I appreciate you guys, and we'll catch up with you coming up